This is the Movie Geeks Film News Podcast Network, and you are listening to the Movie Geeks Filmcast.
What do you think, Steve? You've been very quiet on the whole Punisher thing.
Yeah, I don't like to see anyone, a bit like Will Smith, you get people who want to become part of these types of franchises, and it's almost like a quick buck. And they see Will Smith doing it. I mean, he was becoming quite a very reputable actor when he was doing £7 and stuff like that. And he then went off and sort of, I don't know. I don't like to see people just.
Yeah, but these guys can have a bit of fun as well. That's
yeah,
all
they
it
can.
is.
Of course they can. Of course they can. It's just that I don't. It's like seeing Bradley
He's not-
Cooper after doing his latest run of movies. Then
He ain't doing it, is he? He's not doing it for a quick buck. He don't need the money.
No. Well, does he though? Because he was, he's had a few slippages lately, isn't he?
He still gets paid the same amount with slippages.
Is he still the highest paid actor?
Because the film don't do well, we still get the same money.
Yeah. I think I've had this is why Star Wars is such a breath of fresh air for me, because I've just kind of almost had my fill of superhero movies at the moment, and superhero series, and Daredevil, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all this.
Who is this guy, Stephen? And when did you get an invite into this?
Are you telling me? I mean, am I the only one that sometimes you feel like, oh my
Yes,
God?
no, you are the only one.
You are
Yes.
quite clearly you are the only
See,
one.
I'm not into you guys are into your comic book stuff, and that's not my bag.
Age of Ultron has been out 2 weeks and has done 600 million. You are the only
Oh
one.
no! I know I'm alone in this. Personally, I think they're overcooking it all, and you're losing a kind of. You're making vanilla films all the time. It's a bit like Pirates of the Caribbean got.
Vanilla films.
Like the films
Sorry,
that everyone will like.
I tuned out, but Steve, I'm completely in agreement with you. No one's being particularly brave in the movie industry anymore. It's about excessive bums on seats.
Well, I disagree. I think if
Okay, what's the
let's
most
look at
original? What's the most original film we
look
saw?
at the
Andy?
Marvel films.
Yeah,
no,
they're all the same.
Originality has nothing to do with it. Did you enjoy Age of Ultron?
Yeah,
So did I.
yeah.
Well, there you go.
That's not what
It's
I'm
not
saying.
original. It's
Not
been around
from
for
a-
ages.
Not an emotional level.
I don't think anybody's taking particular risks anymore. That's the thing. I don't think anyone's taking particular risks. So as much as I enjoyed Age of Ultron,
What do you mean by risks?
Yeah, I think
stories, originality in stories.
But they belong on a different medium now, Paul.
But we're just refarming the same comic characters all the time.
But
That's all we're doing.
There's a
And
contrast.
I mean, we joke about it so much. Prequel, reboot, prequel.
Yeah.
It's becoming kind of sad.
But there is a contrast there to be. You have to distinguish now that there are two industries running parallel to each other, and I've said it before in a disposable kind of way, really. But it bears repeating. There are movies and there are films, and movies now rule the multiplexes. So you can have your Transformers taking more money than most countries earn, and then you can have a movie like Locke. And you can have both, but those two things don't exist in the same space. So you get your quality, original, challenging film. The film, like you mentioned earlier, Cavalry, which is a challenging film to watch, that will not sit alongside the Teenage
I'll tell you a
Mutant
good
Ninja
example
Turtle.
for that. I'll tell you a good example for a film what wasn't a hit at the cinema, and it would be now. It would be Netflix would be the champion of it, and that was Shawshank. It did nothing at the cinema.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was an original, obviously from a book. So some might argue, that why are we making that as from a book? We could have all read that, but it did nothing at the cinema.
That kind of emphasises my point. There.
Yeah, absolutely. Your point is completely valid.
We're not disagreeing with that. We're not saying that.
You can't
What I'm
hold
saying
them
is-
up against each other, though, Paul. You
Yeah,
can't hold Age of Ultron and
exactly
Lock Up
pairs.
against each other because they're two very different animals now. And it also plays into what?
Those films are being made. What you're talking about, Paul, but you won't see them at the multiplex because the money's not there. If you put,
That's what
I
I'm
don't know,
calling. That's where I'm saying it's sad.
But that
Yeah.
From the
that
point
plays
of view of
into
your
they're still there.
studios,
the
It's
point.
still there.
The
You've
point
got to
Steve
find
made
them.
earlier about how these actors, they do it for the money. Like if Tom Hardy's going to move and do the Punisher, is he doing it for the money? In a way, yes, they do. The same reason Brad Pitt and George Clooney made the Ocean's 11 film. It's not for money for themselves. It's money to get another product made. So Brad Pitt may not have got Babel made if he hadn't have done Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
You know, they do these things. They get their credibility up through doing something accessible.
Good example there, Steve, for Bradley Cooper. Yeah, he's now making American Sniper. He's now making Silver Linings Playbook. He's going to make Aloha. Before that, what was he making? Hangover 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
18. If he didn't make those films, he would never have made the films he just
They
done.
were his early films. He wasn't exactly in a position to tell people what he was going to
He
make.
was after the first Hangover.
Yeah, because
that made
you get your
500 million.
You get your box office mojo. I'm not like quoting but you get your credibility at the box office, and people will give you the freedom then to go on and make these more esoteric films that aren't commercially accessible.
I just think it's a tragedy. I think when I go on, like IMDb and look at the top 250 and I see, Pirates of the Caribbean up there, and not top 250 best films. Sorry, Box Office Mojo, top revenues, and all the films in the top 10 are a lot of them are shit. I mean, really shit. Like Age of Extinction. I mean, like pissvasser.
yeah. I mean, I'm going down this thing to emphasize the point. The point I was simply making is we are flooded with reboot, sequel, reboot, sequel, reboot, sequel, and let's say 60% of the movies we're looking forward to, me as well, have probably got Marvel written on them.
Yeah.
But for example, now this is what I'm talking about. I am talking a long span of time, but it has happened. If you go to the movies of like 95 to 2000. Shawshank, Fight Club, Pulp Fiction, Goodfellas, Forrest Gump, Big Lebowski, American Beauty, Green Mile, Leon. These were original, crafted, completely standalone epics. No one's doing it anymore.
No, but that next wave will happen soon.
Well, I think we need it.
We will. It moves in sort of 20-year cycles. And what you've just described to me rings bells of 70s cinemas when you started to see your Scorseses and your Coppolas and Lucas and Spielberg.
You're right there, because in the 70s we were flooded by disaster, weren't we? It was airport, airplane, earthquake. It was stuff like that as well.
Yeah,
so.
But then you also got you got your French Connections and your Godfathers and your Serpicos.
I guess now that's the thing. Now you think the way cinema's gone, we want to be dazzled.
Yeah.
And the escape is different now. The escape used to be, you're captain of a ship, and the escape used to be you're a pirate, and the escape used to be you're an archaeologist, blah, blah, blah. Now the escape is you're in a war with 5,000 robots and 12 superheroes.
Yeah.
Deal with that. And you're like, okay.
Why I think that the next big thing for us, because I don't think there's ever going to be a point where we're dazzled again, because we've seen most of it. I think the next big thing for us is going to be technology. Like I'm not talking about 3D and James Cameron brings out 3D. Well, we've done that, and it's a bit. I'm talking something like VR or holographic, something groundbreaking that changes the whole thing. That you're in a film, perhaps even where you're part of the film and you choose the route, and everyone's watching a different film.
That's a different experience, though.
Yeah,
I mean, like I mentioned an hour
is...
ago. The simple script alone and the performances I saw from Playbook was the best thing I'd seen in such a long time. I was completely captivated by people, and we need to keep that.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah. So those films are still being made, Paul. I mean, that was only 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's a shame they don't get the exposure and the flood that the others are getting. We don't
go to the cinema to watch those, do we? That's the thing.
No, but you say that, and I sat there last night, and I bloody regretted that I didn't.
I think there's an argument to be made, Paul, that it's not like the volume on these films. I'm talking in an analogy, so let me be a little bit clearer. It's not like films like Silver Linings Playbook are getting less exposure. It's that, in contrast, films like Age of Extinction are getting more exposure. Those things are
It's a flood,
much
isn't it?
louder. And I think that if you dialed all of those blockbusters down, still Silver Linings, Lock, all of those things, they'd still do the same business, and they'd still earn the same accolades, and we'd still be
The thing is with the
celebrating them like we are now.
It's like the Transformer movies now. I watched it and Steve's completely right. It isn't a great film. It's got too much product placement in it. It was a crappy story. But for that to make the money it made, people would have had to go back and see that a couple of times.
Yeah, it's kids. They're selling this to kids, and kids will
Yeah.
moan at their mum and
Yeah.
dad. I want to see it again.
But what's wrong with that?
Because it's so commercial that you lose.
No, but
Everyone
if
else
kids,
suffers.
look, you're missing the point. If kids like it, who's it hurting?
Yeah, and they're the life's blood of the industry as well.
They're
though,
the next
Steve.
people. They're going to be buying the tickets when we're old and when we're
I
not
know,
going
but
to see
what,
it.
Yeah, but they're also going to make ruin
exactly
the industry because they
What's-
won't.
No,
be
no, no.
invested
Yeah,
in
but for
films.
every so you got that film come out. That was probably the same year as Silver Linings Playbook. So they're still making those films. They're a bit harder to. The gems are harder
it is.
to find. but they're
It is a
still
little
there.
worrying that the flood. I mean, Mark said this goes in like a cosine wave, so I hope maybe the balance will come back. But at the moment, the flood. If we were worrying about what creative industry is coming our way in movies in the next 5-10 years, if it's kids that are completely dependent on pirates, Transformers, and thing, then movie
but
industry's
you've
got a
said yourself,
scary
Paul,
future coming.
It won't be that, will it? Because it's changed. We're watching superheroes now. Like you said, so many years ago it was pirates. Before that, we went back to Flash Gordon. Then before that, we went to Star Wars.
But there was an
and the
equilibrium in
disaster
box
movies.
office, Andy. There isn't anymore. There was an equilibrium in box office then.
Oh yeah, well the problem is, but if we don't have these big films, if you don't have those, you don't have cinema.
No, that's
because
right.
they won't make the small films. There's no money in it. There is no money in those films.
No, one hand washes the other in the film
Exactly.
industry. These blockbusters, they keep.
That's a very interesting analogy.
No, but they keep
No,
the
it is,
little.
that's true.
You get your little indie labels like Fox Searchlight. They feed off of
Yeah.
the money
The big
that
guys.
Fox make. Every time Fox releases an X-Men movie, it keeps the lights on and it allows you to get little gems like, I'm going to say Juno because that was a Fox Searchlight, but
Exactly. Juno was an awesome film. That's not that old.
but,
Yeah,
little things like
There's another film this
50-50,
year
yeah.
which was like end of last year, which was awesome. Whiplash.
Yeah.
I watched
Okay.
that. I didn't
Now,
like it.
again, this is where I find myself slapping myself in the face because as much as I loathe them, it does seem that the Academy still seem to be keeping the correct, what I consider the backbone of the industry going still. I know the financial backbone is down to Marvel and Co. Yes, I know that completely. Well, let's say Disney nowadays. But the creative backbone, I'm glad the Academy is still doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm just,
you've still got-
I'm just an
I
old
mean-
fart.
I mean, there you go. There's one which is a film which is, I think it's out now, and it isn't getting the thing, and that's that Child 44. Now that's Tom Hardy, Gary Oldman, Naomi Rapace. It's not doing anything now. I wouldn't say that's a big budget film, is it? It's obviously got bigger budget actors, but it isn't getting the publicity. Obviously, like Ultron isn't, and the like.
So it makes me wonder what have you got to do to have that accident? Like the last one I can think of was Mamma Mia, which was what I don't know, budget of a few million quid. Had some good stars in it, but
There's another one, Gone Girl.
Yeah, it was awesome.
yeah, but did it do box office?
Yeah, but I don't think, unfortunately, Paul, you're not
It
going to
had
get
mild
those,
exposure though, didn't it? It did
you're
have
not
mild
going to get
exposure.
those films like Fear of Everything. What a wonderful film that was. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Not yet.
Mm.
But that was, again, didn't get it. It will get people watching it now because it's an Oscar winner. But it wasn't the sort of like the film, the publicity train weren't running. But Gone Girl was a great film. They're there. Wolf of Wall Street was another film.
There'll be the films that sort of slide in under the door, and people will be forever discovering them.
I think Wolf of Wall Street was up there though in the exposure.
That's what I'm saying, and that's another film which they get made, but unfortunately, it's I think word of mouth is key. It's for people. I tell you what it is. It's for people like us. If we can put something out there, and on our recommendations, people see that sort of film. Like the film I will watch, that Cavalry you were talking about earlier, Paul. It might do my head in watching it, but if on a recommendation you watch it, and that's why these films get their publicity. Unfortunately,
Maybe it's more of a personal thing for Paul.
Oh, it's completely subjective, Steve.
Because I'm also at the point where nothing wows me anymore. Like when you see some of the effects in Age of Ultron, if I'd have seen one of those when I was 11, I'd have jizzed in my pants if I could when I was 11. But now nothing. I mean, it's like, oh, another huge skyscraper's falling down and it looks real. Okay.
Yeah.
Next.
I don't want to be wowed by that. I want the effects to disappear when I'm watching it. I'll know that I'm engaged with what I'm watching if I don't notice the effects. If I stop for a second and consider what's going on screen.
I thought that with Ultron. I must admit, I didn't. Apart from the first 5 minutes, I didn't even notice when we see the 3D version. It was so seamless.
Yeah, the only thing that really
I didn't notice it.
Drew my attention, it didn't really pop me out of the film, but it was the James Spader, how apparent he was through that CG model. His mannerisms and everything were coming through. And that's a testament to how bloody good it is. You know, the tilt of his head and all that sort of stuff, and the cock of his lip. It's all very...
You said cock and lip.
I did, and I was just waiting. I didn't think that through.
Never mind.
But yeah, you know, I could see James Spader in that character, and it's a testament to how good it is. But I don't really need to be pulled out of the story with the special effects, because that's then it's working against the story, isn't it? And not in service of it.
I don't really know where I was going with it, but like Paul said, it's just a feeling, and I can't really put my finger on it. I'm just a bit.
I think what the thing is, I know I can
all.
understand what you guys are saying by it, because we are talking about, or we just said, we know Marvel's films for the next 5 years. We know what's coming out, but there's other films coming out as well. It's not just those. That's what you've got to look at. There's other
Star
films.
Wars.
I kind of wish I'd been into comics when I was young, because I think I've got a lot more out of the whole thing.
Right, I'm going to rack off a few here. Legend, I think, is going to be one of those films, what we'll be talking about. The Tom Hardy, the
I'm glad
craze.
to see that.
Black Mass is another one.
Yeah, with depth.
These films are all there. You've just got to look through the big stuff to find them.
Jurassic World.
Exactly. As you say, they're there.
No, I consider that to be in the equal bracket, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know that's going to be...
The Peanuts movie. I mean, I could go on.
Hang on, hold the phone.
Right, before we... That was a nice little aside, that's all.
Yeah, it's a 2 hours.
An unexpected aside.
Find everything we do at mgfn.co.uk. Follow us on Twitter at MovieGeeksNews and at facebook.com/MovieGeeksFilmNews. Thanks for listening.